There are 3 things that absolutely destroy your chances of being successful with Facebook ads. I call them the ad account killers. These are the 3 mistakes that I see most often when I'm auditing ad accounts. But if you fix these mistakes, you can decrease your CAC by 20 to 50% in a relatively short period of time, and sometimes even more than 50%. So today, I'm gonna expose the 3 ad account killers and show you a step-by-step process for fixing them. This is the same exact system that I use to help Gyroline double their revenue in less than 30 days, Trustworthy reduce their CAC by 76%, and Johanna reduced their CAC by 65%. My name's Sean Bacastow, and prior to founding my agency PureFunnel, I was Director of Marketing at Cameo, and over the past 10 years, I've driven over $50 million in online sales with ads. So let's jump right into it. The 3 ad account killers that you absolutely need to avoid are bad landing pages, bad ad creative, and bad conversion tracking. Here's why these are the 3 most important things to focus on when you want to improve your ads. It's because your CPA, your cost per action, whether that's your cost per purchase or your cost per lead, is determined by 3 things: your CPM, your link CTR, and your landing page conversion rate. And you can calculate your CPA like this. CPA equals your CPM divided by your link click-through percentage times your landing page conversion rate times 1,000. Of these inputs, your landing page conversion rate is the most important because it's the easiest to improve. Your CPM and link CTR are influenced by how good your creatives are, but going from a 0.5 CTR to a 1.5 CTR is actually pretty difficult. And your CPMs will get better if your creatives get better, but there's also other variables like what vertical you're in, what types of ad creatives are your competitors running, etc. So let's look at this equation and some examples of how we can influence our CPA. So first off, let's assume that our CPM is $30. Our link click-through percentage is 1%, which is typically a rule of thumb that says, is this a winning creative? Is it not a winning creative? And let's say our landing page conversion rate is 3%, which would be about industry standard for e-commerce. So if we do that math, 30 divided by 1% times 3% times 1,000, we get $100. So that's our CPA. So landing page conversion rate is the biggest lever we can pull here, like I said. And let's say we were able to improve that from 3% to 6%. So obviously that's a big jump, but it's definitely within the realm of possibility. It's not that hard to double your conversion rate on your landing page. So in that scenario, our CPA would go from $100 to $50, and that's a change we can definitely make. But let's say we ignore our landing page conversion rate and we leave it at 3%, and we just decrease our CPM to $25, and we increase our link click-through percentage to 1.25%. So that means we've improved our creative. Well, that would get us to $66. So that's definitely an improvement, but clearly it's not the type of improvement we would have seen had we doubled our landing page conversion. But if we're able to both double our landing page conversion to 6%, and we're able to lower our CPM to $25 and increase our link click-through percentage to 1.25%, that has a massive effect, and it gets our CPA down to $33. So you can see that focusing on both your landing page and on your ad creative can have massive effects on your CPA. If you were able to get your CPA from $100 to $33, you now have an extra $67 every single time someone makes a purchase. That makes a massive night and day difference for your business. So now I'm going to give you a step-by-step process for fixing the 3 ad account killers, and we're going to fix them in this order. We're going to improve the landing pages, then we're going to improve our ad creative, and then we're going to improve our conversion tracking, which also helps lower our CPM and improve our link click-through percentage. So to improve our landing pages, we're gonna want to do a few things. The first is to thoroughly research our customer and make sure that we really are speaking to them in terms that they care about. Remember, when they look at our landing page and our ads, they're going to be asking themselves, what's in this for me? They don't care about our product. They don't care about our business. They are exclusively focused on what makes their life better. So we're gonna answer the questions by doing research. What do they really want in life? How will the product help them get it? What transformation will they go through when they purchase our product? How will their lives be better? Then you're going to translate your research into a conversion optimized landing page. And when I say conversion optimized, I mean that the page needs to do a few things. It needs to grab attention. It needs to focus on how the prospect's life will be improved. It needs to state benefits and then back them up with facts and proof. It needs to show how the product works. It needs to handle objections. And it needs to make a really strong offer. Something people say, of course I need that. It should have a very strong headline that could literally sell on the headline alone. If you just had a headline and a CTA button, it should be able to sell your product. It should have social proof, reviews, as seen in certain media outlets, etc. FAQs that handle objections and give information that people need to make a purchase. It should have a comparison table that shows you versus the competitors. Things like product use cases. Your page doesn't necessarily need to have absolutely every single one of these, but these are the types of things that lead to getting a conversion optimized landing page. Then you're going to regularly test things like your headline, the way you're positioning the product, and the layout of certain sections. To give you an idea of how impactful landing page changes can be, when I started working with Gyroline, I made some edits to their landing page, and in less than 30 days, we doubled their revenue, we increased their AOV by $22, and their site conversion rate by 67%. Once you've optimized your landing page to convert cold traffic, you can now focus on improving your CTR and your CPM. And your ad creative is the best way to do that. The better your creative gets, the higher your CTR will be, and the lower your CPM will be. An ad creative has three main jobs. It needs to grab attention and stop the scroll. It needs to tap into the person's desires, and it needs to get that person to the landing page so the sale can actually happen. I'd recommend starting by taking ads that you really like from other companies and just reworking them for your brand. And this doesn't have to be companies that are in your industry. It's probably better actually if they're not. Just collect ads, create a swipe file of ads you like, and recreate them for your brand. So if we were using this ad as a template, think of a headline that would be really attractive to your target audience. List your three biggest benefits here, put an image of your product, and boom. Go out and test that and see how it does. I'd recreate a bunch of ads and then see what performs, and then maybe try swapping different headlines into the visual that's really performing well. I always recommend taking big swings first, so try very different approaches like these 6 ads. Like we could create these 6 ads for our brand, and then let's say this template here for men that don't journal, let's say that template's performing best. Well, then we swap 6 headlines onto this ad. And then we go through and we test another round of creative where we grab 6 different templates and we do it over and over and over. And eventually you kind of get a feel for what's working. You iterate on your creative, and over time you get lower CPMs, you get higher CTRs, and your CPA goes down. The third thing you should be focused on is improving your conversion tracking. And what I mean by this is increasing the amount of data and the accuracy of the data that is being passed from your website to the ad channels. And the reason this is important is twofold. One is that Apple has put a lot of privacy measures in place, and that allows people to opt out of cookie tracking. So the Meta Pixel basically becomes useless for those people. And the other reason is people have ad blockers that block pixels as well. So let's say that 100 people click on your ad, go to your website, and make a purchase. Of those 100 people, if you just have the Meta Pixel installed, Meta will only be able to identify about 40 of those people. If you have the Conversions API set up, also known as CAPI, you will get to about 70 out of those 100 people being identified. If you set up third-party server-side tracking, you'll get closer to 100%. You won't get all the way there, but you'll get pretty close. And Meta actually gives you scores for each of your conversion events to show you how healthy the data that you're passing back to them actually is. So if you go to your events manager and you click show all events on your Pixel, you can see that each of the events, page view, view content, add to cart, purchase, etc., these all have an event match quality score. So purchase is the most important, obviously. If we click this, so we see our event match quality 8.2 out of 10. We also get sub scores for each of these customer information data points here. Click ID is the most important. Email is the second most important. Everything else is kind of the same importance after that. So we can see that our click ID score is not particularly good here. We can improve that with server-side tracking if we were to set that up. Email, we're good on that. So this is a good example of a brand that has conversions API set up, but does not have server-side tracking. So there's some more juice here. Like we could probably get this closer to 10 if we were to set up server-side tracking. I wanna briefly show you what it would look like if you were to set up conversions API or server-side tracking. So you go to your data sources, you click connect data, you choose a data set, and then you're shown these options. You can set it up with Conversions API Gateway. You can set it up with a partner integration, something like a Shopify or WooCommerce, etc. Or you can set it up manually with a direct integration that would require some coding. So a partner integration is gonna be your best bet if you're on an e-commerce platform like Shopify. Conversions API Gateway is probably your second best bet. Manually would be the lowest cost, but it's going to be the biggest pain in the ass. Basically, it's probably going to take the longest. They do have a nice guidance tool here that shows you like, what is your ad budget? So we'll say more than $300. Do you use AWS? No, I prefer an option that doesn't require that, team of 10 or less. And they'll say, okay, we recommend a partner here. So that'll give you a good idea of which route you should go if you want to set up Conversions API. But again, this is only going to get you 80% of the way if you go the Conversions API route. To get closer to 100%, you're going to need to go with a third-party server-side tracking solution. There's really two buckets of server-side tracking solutions. The first is like e-commerce focused solutions. So they'll sync up with your Shopify store, for instance. This is going to be companies like Triple Whale, WeTracked, Northbeam, etc. Then there's a bucket of platform agnostic tracking solutions, companies like Hyros, Commently, ClickMagic, RedTrack. So there's a lot of different solutions you can go with. If you're on Shopify, go with a Shopify focused provider. If you're not, go with one that's not an e-commerce focused provider. That would be my general guidance. If you work with me, I'll set this up for you. You won't need to worry about it. Which brings me to my next point. If you would like me to supercharge your landing pages, your ad creative, your conversion tracking, click the link in the description below and book a call with me on my website. I'll write, design, and manage your ads so that we're getting the most out of every single ad dollar, and so you can focus on building your company.